Our rulers partitioned our continent about 100 years ago. And they taught us two things using the borders. They taught us about tariffs, and they taught us about visas. Now, whether you are talking about the British in Kenya, the French, Belgians, Portuguese, today, all of them are members of the European Union. 27 countries. They don't have tariffs. They don't have tariff amongst themselves, and they don't have visas. The only people left with tariffs and visas is us. And because they saw the folly of tariffs on trade and removed tariff on trade amongst themselves, today in Europe, intra-European trade is at 70%, while intra-Africa trade is at 15%. Good people, it is the reason why we must accelerate the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And unlock the potential that exists for African countries to trade amongst themselves. Working together is no longer an option. It is a necessary imperative. I agree with my brother that the choice is, are we going to float together or are we going to sink? So collaboration, working together, is no longer an option. Part of building the network that will ensure that we facilitate movement of people, goods and services within our continent, Kenya is going to open an embassy here in Congo Brazzaville this year. It's going to open an embassy in Côte d'Ivoire. We are opening an embassy in Rabat in Morocco. We are opening an embassy in Eritrea, because it is time we realize the importance of trading amongst ourselves and allowing goods, services, people, ideas to move freely within our continent. And it is important for us to join hands and build a global financial system and work together to reform the international financial architecture. We need new financing that is going to make the World Bank, the IMF, to give us concessional financing so that we don't have to pay 4 or 5 times more than others, a fair financial architecture that treats Africa like all other continents is not too much for us to ask. And therefore, it is very important that we work together in that space. And let me finalize by saying that includes the Pan-African payment and settlement system, which makes it possible for us in this continent to trade in our local currencies without having to look for this currency or that currency. Let me ask you, good people, what Afreximbank is doing to promote trade in our continent is something all of us leaders must support. I am saying this with a lot of passion because we have an opportunity of a lifetime to change the fortunes of our continent, of our people, and especially of our young people, using this challenge we have, which we must turn into an opportunity.